morning people. How many of you are actually morning people? Leave, like go. I can't relate to you. I don't understand you, and I'm not a morning person. So if I just like fall asleep here or start rambling incoherently, it's because I have not finished my coffee and I'm still waking up. Also, I'm gonna have to figure out the glasses thing because like I can't read with them on, but then I can't. Okay, anyway. Welcome to 52. All right, I am so glad that you guys are having me here. It's really an honor. And yes, I'm going to be using and I really love seeing some familiar faces. There's several here. So hi, friends. Hi, people who I don't know. I hope by the end of this, we all feel like we are familiar faces to each other and that we can see each other in our treasure and in our journey for our treasure. So I don't know about you, but the manifesto that was read through a little bit here really gets me. I think this is an incredible manifesto for an organization or a movement. And I really connect with the part that says, let's see. We bring people together who are driven by passion and purpose, confident that they will inspire one another and inspire change in neighborhoods and cities around the world. That is my manifesto and hope for today as we are here together. So for those of you who don't know me, thank you for the brief introduction. So I can keep this relatively short. But hi, I'm Adele. My husband and I, my husband's the cute guy here with this scruff. Been married 27 years. I still adore him. We co-founded the Cultivate Company a little over a year ago. And I've been in the creative industry for quite a long time. I've worked with a lot of big name, for-profit, nonprofits, and in-house spaces, agency spaces, all sorts of spaces. Running a business is kind of new for me. It's a little bit terrifying, but also exhilarating. It's like being on a roller coaster ride and trying not to throw up, but also going, wee. It's a little bit of all of that. So, but what I'm really passionate about is the intersection of business and creativity. I think it's real, and I feel like it's very important. So my company, we are like a small branding agency. We're really focused on brand strategy. And our mission is to cultivate goodness in companies, brands, people, and each other. So I'm here hoping to cultivate that into all of you today. And I hope that we can cultivate that goodness in each other too. Also, in my spare time, I am an adjunct professor at GCU. Shout out to my GCU peeps back there. I teach a typography class. Yes, you can talk about typography for a whole semester and more. And I love it. And I love the detail-oriented side of it. And I love how the students' eyes get as white as saucers and then they glaze over and I try and bring them back to life because typography is important. I just had to get that out. Okay. So I do want to say that I am incredibly honored that you are here. So if you notice these parentheses, that's taken from my logo here. And it's to symbolize the fact that I want to hold space for the treasure that all of you are, and that we hold space for each other in that way too. So I'm not here to talk at you the whole time, okay? I actually want to invite us all into a public and private process of thinking about what is treasure? What is your treasure? And what role does that have in our lives, including the journey to find that treasure? So there's going to be, I'm just warning you, there's going to be a strongly interactive side to this, okay? So don't run for the door, please. I promise it'll be good. It's really important to me that we create and are very intentional about having a creative, honest, and safe space, okay? A space where we can cultivate that goodness in each other. So can we do that for each other? Can we do that? Yes. Okay. And also, can we be fully present here? Thumbs up. So I'm going to do my student here in the back. She can attest to the fact that I did this in class all the time. Be like, put your phones away, be present. So if you can, minimize your phone use because we're trying to be all here, not only for ourselves, but for each other too. And that'll kind of help this go better. Also, content warning. I am going to be incredibly transparent. It's just part of who I am now. And part of my journey to find treasure has been one that's had some ups and downs. So I'm going to talk about some hard things. That shouldn't surprise you because we all, if we were to look at our journey so far, I think have had some hairy ups and downs too. So I just wanted to share that with you so you're not like, whoa, she blew my hair back, because I might blow your hair back a little bit with some information. And I'm a little scared, scared of being that honest. And you know, I haven't done public speaking in about 1.5 years. I've done quite a lot before that, but I took a personal break. And so it was a little scary to be back and to like put myself out there in a very transparent way.
Yes,
So,
put yourself out there. That is scary.
Okay, next page. Here we go.
Very scary.
So we are obviously here to talk about treasure, right? So when I was first contacted, like, hey, you want to do the Creative Mornings about treasure? I was like, woo, my mind went on the Pirates of the Caribbean ride. Yo ho, the Pirates life for me, flames and treasure chests and gold and pirates and damsels in distress and all that stuff. Which, by the way, when I was 5 years old, I went on that ride and it terrorized me. I cried through the whole thing. I was sure the flames were real, and I was sure that I was going to be taken by one of the pirates. Like I could not translate, you know, fiction from reality. So I hope I'm not terrified today either. But the great thing about treasure, though, is it made me realize that treasure evokes these amazing epic stories about our pursuit of treasure. Think about all the movies and stories about I need to find that thing, that person, that moment, right? That's something that people put everything aside for. And they go through incredible turmoil to get there. So think of this as being on a quest together today. Okay? So in this treasure box, I left it purposefully dusty. I pulled it out of my closet this morning. This is actually my husband's treasure box here. And there's a few interesting treasures. So what is treasure, right? Treasure is what we value, very simply, right? And the value we place on those things can be either real value, like I treasure my wedding ring. There's real value to it. But there's also things that have perceived value too. This box, it has a lot of things I would say perceived value. My husband here who left, so I can't like ask him about it, but there's this dice in here. I don't know what it means. Kind of yellowed from age. But I know that everything in this box has meaning to him. Okay. I have this funny little thing here. This this is a bundle of bananas made out of pewter. And yeah, a little lid.
If she's gonna walk around, you need a microphone.
My rings or earrings into it. Because I often flop into bed and forget to take my earrings out. So I put this in here. I also knock it over in the middle of the night and the lid falls off and I have to dig around and find it the next morning. But this is a funny little thing. I bought this in Malaysia when I was traveling to go teach at a design conference there. Toured Royal Selangor, a pewter factory, and they had this little tiny thing and a little tiny display, and I loved it. I don't know why. I'm not a banana person. This doesn't make sense. It's not like the most functional thing, but if I lost this, I would be heartbroken. It's one of my favorite things. Like when I think about things I love, the banana thing. I don't know. So maybe it doesn't have real value, but to me, it has a very strong perceived value tied to a very strong memory. and it has deep meaning there too. So treasure is incredibly personal, right? And some of the things in this treasure chest, probably all of them, you guys would not run up here and plunder, right? It's not meaningful to you. So treasure chests actually have an interesting memory for me because when I was a little kid, I went to church, I attended Sunday school, and in Sunday school, there was treasure chest time every Sunday. And it was a big show sitting on this table. And if we like behaved, memorized verses, blah, 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 did all the good, rule thing, we could go up. We earn points and then we could go redeem them in the treasure chest. And it was the best. Like I'd be in Sunday school and I listened to whatever, blah, 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 blah. So waiting for like when the Sunday school would open the lid and it was time to redeem all the Bible verses I memorized and all the good things I did. And I remember that I wanted this little perfume bottle that like was a little girl shape and she screwed off her head. And the perfume smelled horrible, but I wanted that thing. And I like behaved and memorized verses for many weeks, and I earned that bottle. And when I was cleaning out my mom's house a few years ago, I ran across that bottle. And I opened it, there was perfume on there, and I sniffed it. And it was ugly, and I threw it out. But it was a weird moment. So I remember how hard I worked on it. Treasure is personal, but it also changes, right? Our priorities change too. So on this note, actually, I want to pause. I have these stacks of numbers, and I'm going to have you guys take one and pass it on. Don't open it. No teaching. Erica, don't do it. I know you're going to do it. Okay. And if a row runs out or something, please just disperse the postcard treasure. And this will be an important part of interactive piece. Also, if you have a pen or pencil or writing utensil, pull that out too. Yeah, there's there too. So these here have been a bit of a rough ride in my journey to treasure. And it's taught me to say something out loud and actually put it on a screen. I feel weird saying that. It's that hard to say. It took me a long time to get to that. Very long time. And getting there has been my hidden treasure, right? And if you think about the epic story of the treasure map, I'm thanking for that treasure. It's never like straight line, walking through the tulip. Here's my treasure. No, there are mountains. There are beasts in the mountains. There are swamps in the swamp, right? There are things horrifying, and you're like, I'm gonna push through. And it can be a frustrating mess that you're trying to navigate. But we are determined because of those things that we value. Even more importantly than needing a treasure, you are the treasure. That's the punchline today, by the way. I might have made a super mistake because I did that like right here up front. But I want you to hear that. Think about that and hold that thought as we continue talking together. And I want you now to open the postcard. And this is where I'm gonna gripe just a little bit. Because people, I designed these beautiful postcards. I sent them to moo.com. Yes, I'm calling out names. They do variable printing, so I have all these different versions. And I've ordered gold envelopes. And I paid for overnight delivery on Monday. Today's Friday. They didn't arrive. So this is me at Aqua Snack last night. At 40 p.m. Yes, the delivery wasn't gonna happen. Almost crying to the fencing lady and saying, so, but okay. The important message is you are the treasure, right? And whether you believe it and can stand in front of people and say, I am the treasure or not, I'm here to help you walk that journey to actually believing that. And see, the thing is I don't know every one of you, but I'm very passionate about all of you. If you look at my LinkedIn, I am a creative community advocate, and I love the creative community. I know what it's like to be creative. I know what it takes to be creative, and I know how important it is that the business world has creative in it, because he brings the heart to creativity. All right, we bring the passion. We are the heartbeat of the business world. I really believe it. And I believe that business and love are actually meant to be intermingled. And I believe that creativity, when it is fueled by love, is better. Even when our client is the most annoying, our coworker, we have to love them. We have to love them to dream big things for their brand, or dream big things for the project, right? So we are about love, and that's the thing that fuels the journey forward. All right. So here's the big question. What do you treasure? You're going to see that question on the other side of this card, right? Think about it for a moment. What is valuable to you? Like truly valuable to you as an individual, okay? Now, maybe on your postcard, you wouldn't write like a banana thing or a dice. I wouldn't write that either. Those aren't my most deeply held treasures. Those aren't the things that get me up in the morning. But I'm going to take a moment and let you guys write down three things to treasure. Now keep in mind, these are not going to be private to you. They will be publicly shared. This will be part of our sharing time. So keep that in mind, but also don't over censor. Okay. Do I do something with this? Oh, okay. So this is, I keep it here. Okay. All right. Okay. So I want you to pull out your pen and paper. Write down the three things specific to you, the treasure. Make it as specific as possible. Is there an extra card somewhere? Okay. Okay. Grab one for myself. You guys done? Let your stuff down. Okay. I'll share with you my treasures. Here we go. Just you'll be encouraged to share yours. So, number one treasure. I actually have them in this room. These three people here. My husband, Fred, Caitlin, my daughter, Hannah, Also a cute one. My son-in-law, Isaiah. Cute one. My daughter. Okay. Secondly, that is and that's very personal to me. And very personal to me. The third thing that I treasure is my creative journey and the history that is woven into it. That's the other thing that I treasure and I hold very close to my heart. So now that you have poured your heart onto a piece of paper, I want you to trade it with one person next to you. Yeah, put it back in the envelope. Put it in the envelope. Yeah. Okay. So that felt a little risky, right? Yes, keep the sticker in there. We're getting to that later. Right? Did that feel risky to hand your treasure over, right? Now I want each person to open the envelope carefully, pull out the card and read what is written on it. And I want you to sit with it for a minute and absorb it, like really see it. Hold space for that, okay? Can I get a volunteer? Yeah. All right, can you read the three things written on the card you're holding? My dad, brother, and sister, and memories of family and pets. Oh, that's true. Pets are a great memory. So I have a question for you. Do you personally, your top things for this thing? Okay. How is it different? Right? And that's true. We have a lot of commonality in the things we treasure. Family, friends, pets. Right? There are some things that are different though. You might be looking at the three things on your card that you're holding right now and say, I can't fully relate, or I don't even know what that means, right? So that's something worth noting. Because your treasure is unique to you. So even if you said, I treasure my okay. So if I go hang out with your family for a week, will I treasure them? You can come hang out with Mulford. You, I don't know if you treasure us by the end, but we really love each other. We do love you. Yeah, okay. Okay. Um, and the thing is, these are different because they're unique to you, and those are your unique values, the unique things that are valuable to you. And if you think about this treasure map that's kind of surrounding those three things, right?
Treasure map, what? What
That
has that to do with business?
to be unique too. Thanks, Mel. And you,
Don't
yes.
understand.
But it's supposed to be unique. That treasure map was actually like, I did all these different treasure maps to indicate our journey is really, really different. So the interesting thing is we cannot treasure what we do not know and what we do not understand. We are not supposed to value the same things. I believe that's part of the design of not only us as people, but us as a creative community too. And that is really the beauty of it all. I think it's beautiful that we have a very diverse group of people here that believe and treasure different things and prioritize different things. And that's why if I handed you a project and said, what's your opinion on this? Or, hey, can you do this part of it? You would come to completely different outcomes than every single person in this room. And that is why being in the creative is incredibly powerful. Because your resume can be like, whatever, I did this, this, and this. You know, creative director, big name, big thing, whatever, you know? But the reality is that it's so much more than that. Your value is in your perspective as a creative, your unique perspective as a creative. The fact that you do value different things and you are on a completely different journey than the person sitting next to you. So if we all value the same things, we wouldn't be here. We wouldn't be a creative group. We would not be a creative community. We would be a one-dimensional cog in a machine. And I don't think we want to do that. That's like kind of the anti-creative way of living, right? Okay, so it's really important that we don't forget that insight. And that we remember that that insight and our innovation and our ideas is very much a part of how it should be. That comfort of it and that discomfort of it when we come together with those different perspectives and treasures. That treasure remains yours, but also you place it in the hands of others around you all the time. Now, if you take a closer look at the card in your hand, right, and you look at the treasure map side and the 3 things written, the treasure map kind of leads backwards through the card to the other side, where it leads to you, right? Ultimately, my hope is that as we talk, you find that the treasure is you. But again, our journey is very, very, very different. So you're gonna see little icons that represent different milestones that maybe you encounter in your life that kind of lead to the ups and downs and meanderings and lefts and rights and twists and turns and things like that. One thing that's common is I hope that your journey at least started with a spark of love, right? Or love. But a spark of that. We are intended to have that spark inside of us. Also, at the end of the journey, I hope we end with love, right? The love that is inside of you. And the map is an interesting metaphor because you look at treasure map and you hear that metaphor movie, and the map is always complete. It's kind of like, oh no, there's mountains and valleys and monsters. But here's the treasure over there. And I can see it. Did any of us get handed a map when you were born? I didn't get that map. Did you get a map? Andy, did you get a map? Okay, good. So I'm not going to. If you did get handed a map, I would have called right back to mom. Because the map is pretty long and pretty big. Okay. We're not intended to have the next. We're actually intended to just know the destination, sort of, and kind of feel our way there. Okay. So this is my map, a very, very high level summary of my life. I did the best I could to summarize 52 years. It lacks a lot of complexity, obviously, in events. And honestly, I don't like parts of it. This is my husband, by the way, meeting him on the, yeah. This is Hannah. Isaiah, you're in here too. But when I also look at this treasure map, you say, ooh, that my dad died of that. It influenced my whole life. You could look at that and say, that was not a gift. That sucked. That was a sucky part of my journey. But as I get older, I realized there was a little gold coin I picked up in that moment that I stuck in my pocket, and it informed the rest of the journey. It's kind of like when you play video games, you fight the bad guy, you level up, you get stronger, right? So I'm grateful for those things. But this map does give me angst as I was designing it, right? I'm too ambitious. I feel way too deep. I feel way, way, way too deeply. I can be extremely fiery. I can also be way too nice. I have been run over. I have run people over personally and professionally. And I have had the highest of highs, and I have had the lowest of lows. 2021 and 2022 were the worst years in my entire life. The worst. Okay. I was completely burnt out in my career as a creative. I was like used up. I was the sponge that was wrung and stinky and just could not be used anymore. Because of that, I became racked with PTSD from workplace trauma. And it was horrible. It landed me in bed for about 18 months. I can hardly get up. This is right after I started my company.
Why could you?
Almost a year ago, so mid-September, I was admitted to a hospital, a psych ward, for the first time. I was so tired from my journey, this map, that I lost my treasure. I lost the compass, and I wanted off. I wanted to crumple the map and throw it away. I was done. I didn't want to live. And I sat for a week with 20-something other people with journeys very different from me. Everything from a hospital executive to a multi-felon, meth head, arms dealing, people killing guy. He and I shared a birthday together in the hospital. I celebrated my 51st birthday wanting to die with a felon. And you know what? He and I were on these exercise bikes on our birthday, cycling away. We became friends. We were talking. We were the same person. Felon, successful, creative, whatever. We both lost our treasure. Our map burnt up in the fire. We didn't know which end was up. And it's very easy to get lost. The best part is I got home and had a client fire after that. You didn't do your work back. It was another, like, I've never been fired. I have never not had a deadline. And it was a massive failure. So who's the creative badass now? Not this girl. Not at all. I was wrung out. I didn't even know which way was up. I didn't know the north on my map. So that seems like a horrible twist of fate, right? Like sad. And it was awful. It was pretty terrifying to usually run from death, like running to death and saying, please, I want out, you know? It was scary. And yeah, I just said those things out loud. I said it out loud in front of a whole group of my peers. But I feel like these things need to be said. It was mentioned that mental health is an important part of, I think, our culture and what's going on, not just today, but always. It's a very important part of our industry. As creators, we need to be healthy. We need that treasure, enough of that, few coins in our pocket to get us over the next mountain. And, you know, it's really easy to compare ourselves. in our journey. It's really easy if you do your little map, and I do like, and you know, compared maps. To be like, why does she have more coins in her pocket? Like her mountain seemed a little bit low. It seems like she had more fun. It's very easy to compare that journey with another person. But my husband has a saying that I really, really love, and it's really, really simple. Everyone's journey is different. That's how it's literally that simple. Why do you compare yourself? Like, when were we told our journey should look like someone else? And as creatives, we especially step off the grid with that. We especially choose to walk our own journey and see things in a different way. How it's supposed to be. Every mountain, every valley, it helps us grow, helps us evolve, helps us really decide what our treasure is. And we are constantly reorienting ourselves on the map. So what I value now, those 3 things I listed, were different 2 years ago. So the treasure, our map changes over time because I think our treasure could change too over time. And so we're always trying to discern that. I think as creatives, we're always thinking that way, right? Hey, but here's the twist. We can do that for our clients and the people around us too. We're trying to look into them. What do you value? What is the outcome you want? We are the Sherpas of other people's treasure maps. We are the shamans of other people's treasure maps. And we are the voyagers trying to say, come on, we can do it. I know, not to get you as hard, but trust me, it's worth it. It's worth doing the redesign, trust me. Worth the journey. So the journey can scar us a little bit, but oh, the stories we can tell. Okay. So Isaiah, can you come up here? Isaiah. Okay. What you treasure? Okay, so let's see here. First one I asked, who's part of that? Oh my daughter, Hannah. Okay, here we go. What does Hannah treasure? My engagement ring and my marriage and what it symbolizes. Okay. My cat. His name is Sir Momo. That's a new treasure. Yeah, she just got this cat like 2-3 weeks ago. And then she promptly went on a trip and had us babysit the cat. So there's that. And then my family. Oh, how appropriate. Okay. How does it make you feel, Hannah, to have me hold this and read it for everyone? If you feel vulnerable, why? Exposing it, right? It's looking at our little treasure box, letting someone dig around. Oh, that's nice. Oh, that's not nice, right? So we've literally placed our treasures in the hands of others, right? And I read it and thanks for sharing. That was interesting. Ever had your parent do that to you? Ever had your friends do that to you? A colleague, a client, seller? What you saw there is disrespect. That is disrespect. It happens a lot in big and small ways. This is a little dramatic, but oh, getting these little, right? The little jabs. And that harmful behavior, it comes from a lack of empathy a lack of understanding, and even basic love. Basic love. It's kind of our deepest fears as creatives, right? How many of you have been in a presentation and had it skewered by your boss, your clients, coworker? Wow, you live a charmed life. That's like 50% of you. I don't believe that. I'm just saying, like, not how it goes in our industry. I don't like how you presented the work. I don't like the outcome. We didn't get the result we wanted. I would have chosen a different color. I think it's ugly. You suck. You know, it doesn't feel good. And we say these things to ourselves, right? But it hurts most when it comes from the people we love and admire, the people very close to us. And that can include our bosses and our peers. So, here in Phoenix, we can be thieves. We can be thieves of each other's treasure. We can be thieves of each other's treasure map and disorient each other. So here in Phoenix, there's a little Facebook group called Phoenix Designers. If you've heard me talk at Phoenix Design Week 2 years ago, I brought this up before, but I cannot resist to bring it up again. This group, sometimes someone will post in this group the work of another local creative, and then subsequently criticize it. And then there's a list of 20, 30, 40, 50 comments. It's horrible. It's horrible. I cannot believe that happened. I'm just gonna call that out because this is what we're doing when we do that work to a creative, to a person in our community. So it was offensive that I ripped up my daughter's treasures, but we can do that metaphorically. I have a friend who worked with one of the pieces that was skewered publicly. It was a long debate. I didn't know it was his work. And I got in there and I was like, guys, do better. I have a taught on the group and I stick it in there and I'm like, stop it. I can't help with it. I'm old, I'm 50 pounds of shit. Like, if it makes you mad, fine. I love y'all, but be nice. Okay? So I went in there and started defending it. Later that day, my friend texted me and said, I'm on Facebook. My coworker said you went in there and defended my work. And the coworker didn't know who I was, but he's like, I knew it was you, Adele. I asked who it was, and he said, oh, it's Adele. And he's like, yup, that's Adele. That's the virus. He and I went, and I was doing work, and it was solid. It was not groundbreaking, but it was solid. Okay. We went and had coffee. And I was like, tell me about this project. He opens his computer, he shows me the years of work he and his team put in. Versions upon versions, 50 versions. Okay, presented to committees upon committees upon committees. And I'm amazed it came out as well as it did. What happened was I sat, I heard the journey, I understood, and I had empathy. Understanding the context is so important so that we don't see other people's treasures and we don't let other people see our treasure too. So let's talk about something different. So I want you to pull your partner's treasure card back out. And I want you to choose one of the treasures. I brought the cake. By the way, of course, we can do that for the okay, what we'll break up. I want you to ask the person whose card it is to explain that treasure for a moment. Okay? So I'm gonna give you guys a few minutes to do that. All right, you guys.
Zoom.
I want to make sure that I don't keep you guys too long. So Let's come back together. Okay. I need another volunteer, or you will be voluntold. Molly, hi. Okay. Okay. Who is a person that heard someone explain their treasure of you three? Okay. Did you explain your own treasure though? Okay. All right. I need a volunteer who does not know the person next to them super well. Okay. Who heard the person explain their treasure to them. Somebody. Thank you. Okay. So I'm curious to hear your insight. What was different about what just transpired than the rip up the card moment? And personally, and now I know there's some backstory to it versus sometimes you'll see something on paper, you read a headline versus actually getting the depth of it. And that. So it's kind of like you saw Dammy. You saw her. It's like you're best friends now. May it be so. So that's what I was talking about. We cannot treasure what we do not understand. Okay. We are not responsible for just caring and holding our own treasure. We are also responsible for how we treat other people's treasures. Okay. So, like I said, it's natural that we're not going to all treasure the same thing. But when we take the time to appreciate others' perspectives, their histories, their stories, think about what just transpired in what, 2 to 3 minutes, we build that empathy. That actually builds our own treasure. I hope in that little conversation, or when you make friends, or when you discover something new, you feel that treasure inside of you grow. It's kind of like when you go on a great vacation. My husband and I went to Hawaii a few months ago. We met people, we ate food, we saw things. We came back more expansive. Our map grew. It was a happy spot on our map too. But the other great thing is when you have that kind of interaction with others, you're building their treasure too. And that's the beauty of a creative community that cares for each other. That's the beauty of creatives that care for each other. That's the beauty of people that care for each other too. So I have the Cultivate company because cultivating is creating those paths for people to intersect in our map. Sometimes our paths might merge. Sometimes our paths might diverge. Sometimes our paths might meander together. Hey, I see you on the mountain over there. Good luck. It's getting snowy. But ultimately, we are looking for that same thing, right? So we've been sitting here letting someone else hold our biggest treasure in our hands for the last several minutes. Feels kind of weird, right? Let's hand it back. So get your treasure back, people. Do you feel a little bit of weird relief right now? Just like, that's a real thing, okay? Let's acknowledge the power of that. And because your treasure is best held in your own hands. Yes, you hand it to other people, you share it, you share your story, their storytelling, we connect. Awesome, awesome, awesome. But your treasure should be held in your own hands and fostered in your own hands. So I want you to look at your treasure one more time, what you wrote. And I hope that as you look at it, you are seeing it with fresh eyes because you had to give it away for a minute. You had to let someone else hold it, potentially read it out loud to people, potentially be confused by it or not understand it. So we talked in the beginning, we held space, right? We held space for each other to have these vulnerable conversations, to embark on this epic treasure journey together. We talked about how we have treasures inside of us. They're unique. We talk about the treasures that are in other people. We talked about our journey to find those treasures and how those journeys are unique too, and all their wild, woolly, frightening, delightful twists and turns. And if there's anything I want you to remember from today, it's this: your treasure deserves respect. Just for who you are, just for popping out of mama and being here without a map, okay? Your treasure deserves honoring. We honor each other's treasure. If you're in the presence, or you're in a workplace, or you're in a friendship or relationship that doesn't honor that treasure, it's probably not a good thing. So your treasure is your destination, okay? Your treasure deserves protection. Who protects your treasure? You do. You do. It's back in your hands. You handed it over to someone, but ultimately, I want it back, okay? So remember to protect your treasure, but also you cultivate your treasure. You don't just have a treasure and like let it get dusty, even though we did that, these little treasures. But the things you really treasure, you cultivate them, you spend time with them, you pay attention to them, you make sure you're still going in the direction of them, and you care for them. You care about the things you treasure and every step of your journey there. And ideally, we do that for ourselves, but we ultimately hold space for this to be true for each other, because you are the treasure. That was the punchline at the beginning. Here it is again. I warned you. But you know, the hardest lesson for me personally was that I had to do this for myself. I had to discover that I am the treasure. I had to protect that I am the treasure. And it came at a very big cost because I waited too long. And I handed it over to people and situations that were not helpful. And I think we've all done that. And it stings, right? And we become better and stronger in those moments. So, as a last step, I want you to put your treasure in the envelope. Put it in the envelope. If you have a sticker still in your envelope from all the pulling out and putting back, I want you to take that sticker and I want you to seal that envelope. If you don't have a sticker, the envelope I think is self-sealing, or you can lick it and cut your tongue. There's only one you guys. There's like a whole group of you, but we are not extras in each other's movie. There's only one you. There's only one Molly. I know Molly. I like her. I haven't met anyone like Molly. Actually, I supervised her for a while. Great employee. I did hire you. I hired you, trained you. We became friends in spite of me being your boss. Like, we've had fun together. We've had our ups and downs and our personal and creative journeys. I have tried to encourage her. She's tried to encourage me. I am thankful for Molly. There's a lot of people like that here. We need you. You need you. We collectively need each other. I need you. You are the treasure, and you are important. Because there's only one us, right? The whole point of being a creative, the whole point of being unique, looking different, living different, journeying different, valuing different things, it's because there's just one us. So, your treasure is in the envelope and it's sealed. Now, this is not so you just forget the treasure, throw it away. I mean, you can. Just don't tell me. If it was on the nice Moo printed cards, I'm sure you'd want to keep it more. But that's beside the point. Did I bring that up again? I'm not bitter. But it doesn't mean your treasure is not meant to be shared. I mean, yeah, you put the thing on it, but sometimes you pop that seal open, you share that treasure with others. It also means you do not keep your treasure inside. Don't seal it up, hide it away, bury it, and don't let anyone see it. First of all, that's a career breaker. But second of all, that breaks your spirit and your heart too, and your ability to be the best creative you can be. So the point of sealing the envelope is this. My hope is that what you heard today, I hope it encouraged you a little bit. And I hope that what you heard and experienced today, you can seal up inside your heart. And remember to protect those things you learned. Remember to protect you as the treasure. Remember to protect the things you treasure. And remember to protect yourself along the journey while inviting people along with you and being ready for those wild and woolly adventures. And that is what I have to say.